out in the sunshine again. How lovely.
Good.
So we shall begin. This is a test of your instructional ability. I would like you to treat me as though I'm a learner at the partly trained stage. My last instructor was due to teach me the turn in the road exercise today, so I'd like you to do that. I'm familiar with the layout and controls of this vehicle, so I know where everything is and stuff. So I've had my previous lessons on these kind of cars. My last instructor's got a dental appointment today, so he can't make it. So they've organised for you to take over from him. My name's Bob. Feel free to call me that. Take a couple of minutes to collect your thoughts, and whenever you're ready, we'll begin.
Okay, Bob. Morning. I'm
Morning.
Andy. I'm your instructor for today.
Hi, Andy.
I understand your regular instructor is off today at the dentist.
Yeah.
Rather him than me.
Lucky him.
So you've got me today, and he wants me to have a look at the turning in the road exercise.
That's what he said, yeah.
Yep. So a few things we need to go through before we go to a suitable training area.
All right, okay.
So in your last lesson, what have you covered?
We were doing traffic lights last time.
Okay.
Like crossroads and traffic light control crossroads.
Okay. And what other manoeuvres have you done?
I've done me reverse around the corner.
Okay. So your clutch control, are you happy with the clutch control?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously with the nature of the turn in the road, it's all very much slow speed.
All right.
So I may get you to demonstrate just a little bit of clutch control before we carry out the manoeuvre.
All right.
Just to reassure me that you're confident with the controls and you can
okay.
control the car at a very slow speed.
Fair enough.
Because the beauty of this one, similar to your reverse around the corner, it's got to be at really low speed and really well controlled.
Okay.
Because you're in a restricted area.
All right.
So why do you think we might need to actually practice this manoeuvre?
Because it's on my test, isn't it?
It's on your test, but in real life, you may need to do a turn in the road. You might need to turn the vehicle around for some reason.
Right.
You may have gone down a wrong road, maybe a dead end. So you've got to turn the vehicle around by some means. Might not be a road to reverse into.
Oh, okay.
So we've got to get the car turned around the opposite way. Okay. So we'll drive to a suitable location.
Okay.
And then I'll give you a brief on what we're actually going to do as regards the manoeuvre when we get there, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Out roll.
Rightio. How was that?
Felt quite comfortable.
I'm sorry, you've gathered some information from me. In roll, I'm not going to give you too much. It's. You've said that you're going to get me to demonstrate clutch control. Tell me why. Just add in. I've not seen you before, so just to establish things. Make sure that you're used to the way the bite is on this car. We'll do a little bit of that.
Is that not covered enough by saying I just want to see you're confident?
Yeah,
with it?
it's fine. Nothing wrong with what you've done. You could. You might, just in case he might fire back. Why are you doing that? Do you not believe me? Because the question you asked was, "You happy with clutch control?" Yep. You might get a different answer if you said, "Was your last instructor happy with clutch control?" No, he says I'm a clown.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But that's why I put in the bit about
that's fine.
With the reverse around the corner.
Not a problem with that. Not a problem.
Yeah.
So you've talked about the purpose of the exercise.
Yeah.
The location. It's on this bit. What we're after you doing here is to talk about the location we need for the turn in the road. That it's safe, it's legal, it's convenient. Rather than
we're just going to a location. Yeah. Right. Okay.
But you'll probably cover that when you do your brief anyway. So it's probably enough then to say, okay, well, we'll drive to an area where we can practice that. I'll have a look at your driving on the way then, see if there's anything I can help you with that. You okay with that? Yeah, okay, right, off you go. He may add in his little word picture at the start that, I'll direct you to a location. He might not. You can just ask him. And again, I think these things vary from test centre to test centre. If the location he's going to, at a test centre, say for example, where the location for the turn and road was really quite close, he might want you to brief him in the car park. Here, they want you to get out of the car park because there's not enough spaces.
Yeah.
So he'll want you to brief at the location.
Okay. So we'll just say, right, gone through the purpose of it, and then we'll drive to a suitable location that's safe.
You can talk about the location when you get there, can't you?
Yeah, let's just
is this a safe location to do it, do you think? As long as you remember.
So I was just going to try to put up in my head, rather than say, right, we're going to drive to a location, just sort of formulating something for future. So
Yes.
that when we get to a suitable location, and by that we need something that's relatively quiet, with not too much other traffic around us, so we can carry it out and we can do it legally.
So it may help you at that point to that purpose and location to add that in with your brief rather than your initial chat. Think that would help? So rather than talk about that here, talk about it when you get to the location. Would that change things or not?
I'm not sure, because it's you can almost go over that again though, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. It's not going to take you a long
Because
time.
if it's just a case of understanding why we do it, but we're going to drive to a safe location to carry out the manoeuvre.
I was just thinking
Well,
mainly in terms of, not talking about we're going to drive to a location, but talking about the location itself. If you added that to your brief, it might prevent that. I don't know, just a thought. Something for your reflection.
Okay. Right.
Radio, back and roll.
Okay. So we'll drive to the location. On the way, I'll just have a look at how your driving is. Just make sure everything's up to scratch.
All right.
Has your current instructor commented on any other areas at all?
Not that I can really remember. No.
Okay, so it's just turning the road he wants me to concentrate on
Yeah, that's
today.
what he said we were doing today, yeah.
Well, we'll have a look and see how your driving is.
All right.
And if there is anything that looks as if I can maybe help you with, then I may ask you to pull over. We'll have a little chat about it. And we'll take it from there.
Okay.
So if you'd like to set the vehicle up, go through your cockpit drill, please. Okay. Obviously at this point I've already got my seatbelt on.
Yeah, obviously you'll be out of the car and go back in.
Yeah.
So, as is standard, watch him do his before you do yours.
I suppose for the ones going forward, try and get into habit when we pull up, just knock my seatbelt off.
I think the easiest thing is if we get out and get back in.
Yeah.
Is probably easier.
Okay.
Good point.
Yeah. I was just trying to get into that routine of checking you before I do mine. Okay. Right, so when you're ready, Bob, we'll move on.
I'm going to take the road to the left out of the car park.
Okay. So I'll just exit the car park, Bob. As we exit the car park, we're going to turn left.
It's bumpy this road, isn't it?
It is, so we just need to watch our speed. Turn left at the end of the road. Okay, just tell me why you're hanging back so much.
Just looking for a gap. But if I can find the gap, I may be able to fit into it.
We need to be up towards the junction first.
All right.
Okay, just while we're here, just have a quick look at where you're positioned. You're just a little bit wide out from the curb.
Right.
Okay, so we just need to watch for that. Okay. Don't forget to put your indicator on when we make a turn.
Next left.
I'll take the next turn to left, please, Bob. Okay. Remember what we do before we apply a signal? What do we check?
Nice mirrors here.
Yeah, so mirrors first, and then your signal. Take the next road on the right, please, Bob. Okay, you can pull up just on the left, just where the hedge is, just beyond the hedge, where the brown bin is, please, safely and convenient. Okay, into neutral. Fancy signal, just switch the engine off. Okay, just a couple of things I've noticed so far on the way out. As we exited the car park, you held back quite a way. I understand your idea, you're trying to get vision into the road.
Yeah.
But the danger is that the distance we were back from the actual junction, you see a gap. By the time you've driven up past the hedges, something else will have come.
All right.
So just take yourself up to the junction.
Yeah, fair enough.
Set up your position, and don't forget your signal.
Yeah.
And then we can exit the junction.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It was nicely slowed down on the approach to the bridge. That was good. You got yourself into nice safe speed.
Yeah, that car coming the other way was going.
Yeah,
quick, wasn't it?
and that just demonstrates why it's important to set yourself up, be safe, suitable speed. If needs be, you could have stopped quite easily because he was nearly on our side of the road due to his speed and his positioning.
Right.
As we turned right into this road, you were just slipping the clutch. You're just riding the clutch as we came around the corner.
Oh, was it? Oh,
So,
right.
so just make sure your foot's completely off the clutch before we do the right-hand turn.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just on that, what are you using as a guideline for doing your right turn?
I get my mirror lined up with the lane.
That's it, spot on. So just be wary of that foot's right off the clutch,
Oh, okay.
so you've got full control, and then the car's out of roll, you're just waffling again then. Foot completely off the clutch, so you've got full control of the car before you actually start turning the vehicle and doing the manoeuvre.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
fair enough.
out of roll,
Go on.
let's pick everything up.
Was I slipping the clutch?
You were riding it.
My foot was over it, I wasn't riding it.
It did look from where I was, looked as if it was resting on it. So,
So look at the PST. If I'm going to commit faults that are to do with the PST, would I be slipping the clutch? What would be the faults I would be displaying, do you think? What are you marked on a manoeuvre?
it's slow
observation,
control,
accuracy.
so setting off.
So have I done anything that's going to affect my accuracy on turning the road?
Probably not, because you've set off.
How's my steering? You've already commented I was out of position at the junction coming out the car park. Why was I out of position?
Yeah, because you weren't using full movements of the steering wheel.
Coming round the corner here, how was my steering there?
Yeah, but
I'm not using the full.
yeah,
That's going to cause you an issue on turning the road.
okay,
I
yeah.
thought you'd nail it. I thought, oh, he's going to pull me with it. Okay.
Right.
But that was the fault I was displaying there.
Yeah.
My foot was indeed over the clutch, but that's the main fault.
All right. Okay.
So we all become obsessed with coasting, don't we?
But again, it's another one to pick up on.
Sure. Now the position at the junction is not technically that. It's unlikely you'll get that. I just thought, oh, it's an interesting one. I wonder what you'll do if I do that. So that was just to see what you were gonna. It's the same sort of thing as you remember when we were doing the other one. I'd said, oh, my mate said you can wave little old ladies across the road, testing your knowledge in other ways.
Yeah.
They just said, okay, I wonder how you'd view that, because it was an opportunity to do it. I thought, oh, I'm not going to miss it. Chances are the examiner on test wouldn't do that.
Because I suppose as well, you could argue because it's an exit point. Nothing else can come in. So, in effect, and it is quite a tight turn. Do you actually need to be over to the left?
So, is there anything you could have done differently there? Do you think that would have not eliminated, but might have helped you with that?
What, on the lead up to the junction, so
Before the
what's your positioning?
Or before we even move the car, you could ask, "You driven from here before?"
Yeah.
I might have said, "No," but you've taken the chance. So always ask. Even if it's obvious, he must have done. He's an examiner, he drives out of this car park loads of times. You driven from here before? No. Ah, right, okay. So tell me what you see at the junction here, what you're going to do about it. Then you're in a different game.
Right, yeah.
Where if it's like, you driven from here before? Oh yeah. Then he should expect that he would do it right. But because you hadn't asked, I thought, all right, I'll throw something in that might be unusual. Why have you done that? Oh, because of these hedges I'm not sure I could see, so I was just trying to get a gap early, was the sort of thing I was getting at. But if you just ask the question all the time, driven from here before? When you begin your phase 2, you familiar with this area? Oh yeah, I do all my lessons here. Or, no, I don't know it at all. You've got to play that a different way. It's an interesting scenario.
Ooh.
I think there might have been a frank exchange of views there.
Crikey.
Wow, okay. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Excellent. Back and roll.
Okay, Bob, so when you're ready, drive on. Should indicate.
I wasn't sure because I'm not sure what he's doing. It looked like he was going to come past.
Seems like he's pulled up now, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does.
Seems a bit uncertain.
I thought I'd better just make sure. I'll indicate now for this one coming.
Well done. Just that roller second, I think I've asked you this one before. I would have held that in second gear coming around there. For a learner, you're still happy for him to get up into third.
Fine, if you have a look.
I mean, it's pulling
Car's
okay, yeah.
performing fine. If the car's not performing okay, then that's different.
Okay. It's just I've got used to that bit of holding gears now for different reasons.
That's
a lot of road works and things.
a lot of interesting parking and unusual stuff going on here. Back and roll. Next road on the left.
Okay, we're going to take the next road to the left, please, Bob. Watch your speed.
Let the roundabout will take the road off to the right, the third exit.
The roundabout, Bob, we're going to take the road to the right, which is the third exit.
Find a convenient place to pull over on the left.
Okay. You can pull up on the left, a safe, convenient, legal place. After the bus stop. Okay, switch off.
And this is the location we'll use. Back and roll.
Okay, we're going to use this location to do the manoeuvre.
All right.
But I have noticed as we're coming along back around some of the junctions that you're tending to make hard work of the steering.
All right.
You're only using quite a small portion of the steering wheel.
All
So
right.
you're tending to shuffle. You find that quite hard work when you're doing manoeuvres.
No.
What you will find, if you use the whole of the steering wheel, it'll make life a lot easier for you. Because on this particular manoeuvre, we're going to be using the full amount of the steering lock to get us round to do the manoeuvre.
All right. Okay.
If I'll just show you on my presenter, just so it'll help you see what I'm getting at. So we're here at the moment, parked at the side, and we're going to, by means of forward and reverse gears, which will be just first and reverse, okay, we're going to drive across to the other side of the road, So we're going to do this and stop just near the curb, reverse back, and then drive out that way.
All right.
Now, because it's a very tight manoeuvre, and I say you're going to need all your lock, you need to be able to get the steering on as quickly as you can. So once we're moving, we're going to need full right-hand lock.
Okay.
So if you're doing that, you're making really hard work for yourself, and you're not giving yourself much time. So if you just hold the top of the steering wheel, just demonstrate it for me. So if you hold the top of the steering wheel, and just slide down, use the whole of the steering wheel, like that, okay? And that's what we're going to be using, the full amount of the steering available to you.
All right.
And you'll find that gets your lock on a lot quicker,
Right.
and you'll hopefully find it a lot more comfortable.
Okay.
Okay. So we do that. So we'll get it onto full lock, and we'll go over to the opposite side of the road. Now the idea is that just before we get to the curb line, do you understand what I mean by the curb line? As it drops down onto the tarmac of the road.
All right.
See that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to be heading for. Just that roll sec.
Okay.
I take it. We're going to head for a curb, or
This is fine because that's so. Since we've come out of roll, steering.
yeah.
When I start the manoeuvre, how am I going to do it? Do you think? So I've committed a fault on the way here.
Yeah.
So you've spotted the fault. Have we analysed and fixed that? Are we sure that I'm on side with that and I'm going to comply? Or have you just told me what to do? So you told me I'm going to need the steering fast. You've made me do that, but do I believe it? We don't know, do we? See,
What I do get you to do a quick.
Sure. Oh yeah, but during the manoeuvre that's fine, but I've committed a fault. You pulled me up, you told me about it, but we haven't analysed it, we haven't fixed it.
So what we do, go around the sort of.
No, just in a discussion, see if you can get me to comply. Because if you don't get me to comply, I'm just going to ignore you and do it the way I was doing it before.
So,
Because that's how I'm built.
no, that's fine. So by trying to get a demonstration.
What you need from me is me to accept that what you're saying is right. All right. Oh, I see what you... So can you see it if you do it that way? You'll be able to get the steering on much quicker. How do you think that would help you get around junctions? I'm not sure. Well, actually, you might only need one or two moves. Do you think that would be a good thing? Oh, yeah, I suppose it would, wouldn't it? Yeah. And then I've come on side where at the minute it's still a little vague.
Yeah, a bit woolly.
And
yeah.
it's left me the opportunity to just go, yeah, it was all right the way I was doing it. I know what you're on about. All right. And if you look at my responses, just say, all right, yeah. No, oh, okay, I'll do that then. None of that. There's no affirmation
Nothing
from my
positive.
side that,
Yeah. Okay.
oh, I've seen the light.
Okay.
I mean, he may not choose to play it that way, and he may see that you giving him that is enough, but you're leaving a little wriggle room, or too much wriggle room for me there. You want that fixed.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, you talk about it in your brief and then make sure he does it when you come to it. But if that's a fault that's been displayed and you've pulled up, you want to talk about it, never move on until we're sure that we're done with it, and that when this car moves again, I'm going to comply with what you've said.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Back and roll.
So, do you understand where I'm leading with this as making it easier for you on the steering technique? That rather than sort of shuffling it round, it's going to make it more comfortable for you, and it will bring the steering on much quicker. So, if for example, as you do a short shuffle, moving that a little bit, if you imagine these are the wheels, these are your steering wheels,
Yeah.
and by putting on a little input, they're only moving from there to maybe there, when in fact, if you do a nice full movement, it's going to take it to that position much quicker.
All right.
So, as the car moves, if you're doing short movements, and we're doing a turn, you may only get to that position because of the way you're shuffling. Whereas by using nice long movements, puts the lock on much earlier, and you'll be able to get the car round where we want it. So maybe do it in 2 full movements of the steering wheel rather than 22 shuffling. Does that make sense to you?
Okay, so out of roll, you're making a good argument, but talk about consequences. for this exercise, for example. So if you didn't get it all the way around, what happens then? Instead of doing it in 3, you're probably going to do it in 5. You're in more danger for longer. So, you know, because while you're sideways to traffic, it's not a good place to be. So would you agree that doing it in 3 is better than doing it in 5? Yeah, probably. So doing that might help you. Oh, right, I see what you mean. Now I'm on side.
Right. Okay.
So it's a very small point, but it can get lost, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
If you've stopped to talk about a fault, you've got to finish it off. You've got to do all them 3 boxes at the top. Identify, analyse, prevent and remedial. Well, that's 4. But prevent and remedial we're seeing as the same thing. You'll get the chance to prevent it while you're doing this exercise.
Yeah.
But you've got to have covered all those topics, because if you move on, you've not done the job, the fault will just reappear. And it'll cause you chaos here. If you don't get me to come on side, if you don't get me to agree on that, then I'm going to be over there in a heartbeat. You've got 16 feet to fix that. It's not a lot, is it?
So I just think if we turn in here, we've got no curb as well as such, have we?
No. What does that give me the opportunity to do?
Straight into his drive.
So there's a reason I've stopped here. Because I can put your car over there safely on the curb.
Yeah.
And that's why this road's really useful for that. And this is one of the locations they use. So if somebody does come along on their own exam, which they shouldn't be, but we might catch that, then we'll drop it a roll and we'll move immediately.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll say that I've come on and said, all right, I see what you're saying.
Right. Okay.
Back in roll.
So the purpose of it, we need to turn the vehicle round.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally in as few movements as possible,
All right.
and using use of the steering wheel correctly and using the full use of it, that will enable us to do that. Hopefully in 3 turns.
All right.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay. Now, as regard where we need to position the car, from here, when we get it on full right-hand lock, because we're going to be heading over to the opposite side of the road, towards that curb line. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what you find on the road, you can't always see it immediately. The road has a very slight camber on it, so it's higher in the middle than it is at the edges.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah.
So what happens is, as we get towards the other side of the road, it's just going to drop away from you just very slightly. So you may feel the car run away. So you've got to be prepared for that, and be prepared to cover the brake, so we don't roll into the curb.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
To help you, you can use as a guide. Start roll set. It's the mirror line used, isn't it?
It's a reference point.
Yeah.
It might work. It might not. They are only a guide reference points. They're not, it's because everybody's a different height.
Yeah.
For example, you won't be able to use your reference point for Jay of the examining here because he's 6'3", 6 foot. Or he might even be taller. I might even be 6'4". He's very, very tall. So your reference point's not going to work. It is just a guide.
Yeah. So what we can do to help you is use the mirror as a guideline, similar to when you're doing a right-hand turn, and you line it up against the white line, so you know when to turn right. You can use that as we come over to the offside of the road. As we get towards the curve, we want the front of the car just slightly over the curb. So what should happen when we get to this point, you should be able to see the curb line along there underneath your door mirror.
All right.
So door mirror there, as you look out, that's what you should be able to see. Okay, does that make sense?
All right. So what would I do if it was a big curb?
A high curb.
Or if those bins were at the edge of the curb?
Okay, fair point. That roll.
Okay, I don't know. You don't want the curb overhung at all.
At all.
You might find it useful to talk about street furniture, lamps, that kind of stuff, trees. You've got to be very careful about overhanging curbs, and you don't want to encourage learner drivers to do it because that's where the pedestrians walk. Yes, I get it that we would be over there, but it's just best to not put the nose of the curb over there.
Okay.
Not nose of the car over the curb.
Because it's a fair point, because there are different height curbs, and especially as you're dropping down onto the
And
off
some
the camber.
cars are really quite low at the front.
Yeah.
You know, if you did that with mine, for example, it's got the skirt around the front.
Yes.
You'd end up scraping it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Somebody did that once in mine. It wasn't me. Back and roll.
Right, okay, so... Right, okay. So what we're aiming for is to get the car across to the other side of the road, as close to the curb as we can. And because the road drops away on the camber, what happens is here, as shown in this diagram, that's the centre of the road, what we call the crown, and these are the edges of the road. So that's your curb stones that you can see just next to the tarmac. And as the car comes round, it's dropping down. So the front of the car, the underneath of the car, is really very low. And on a high curb, there is a potential to hit that.
Right.
So we want to keep away from that. So the idea is just to get the car just about there.
All right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So as we get across to that point, just before we get to the curb, we want to take the lock off,
Right.
and if possible, try and get it onto the full opposite lock.
All right.
Because you haven't got a lot of time to do that, that's why it'll really help you with the full movement. Because you can imagine if you're doing your little shuffles, you're going to be worn out.
I may not get it right. Yeah.
Exactly, and then we're going to end up doing 20 turns.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that makes
Fair enough.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Okay, so as we get across to the side of the road, we've got it onto full opposite lock. Okay, and then we'll stop, select reverse, and come across to the other side of the road.
Right.
Start roll. I've missed a blindingly obviously thing. Start again.
Now, whilst we're at it all, if you feel that you've missed something, don't worry overly about it. Just work it into your next thing that you talk about.
Yeah,
So what is it you think you've missed?
observation.
Okay. Still not too late, is it? We haven't talked about the car going back yet. Or you're busy
Well-
talking about it going back, so you could talk about observation.
But
you
I haven't
could just
covered
talk
it.
about observation at the end.
But I haven't covered the observation even getting across the road. So,
Back and roll.
okay. So, for the purpose of this, we will be driving to the opposite side of the road. So it's important before we do anything, as you do with any setting off, that we do full all-round observation.
All right, okay.
Okay. Complete check around the car, especially shoulder check over to your right, because that's the area you're driving towards. But full all-round observation, and we'll drive across to the other side of the road.
Okay.
As we go round, because we'll be going very slowly, there's opportunity just to pause, just check, see what's coming,
All
make
right.
sure everything's still safe. Because as you're turning, you'll be looking over there. May be somebody coming up on a bike on the pavement, so you just need to be quite sure
All right, okay.
that what we don't want to do is if your foot slips off the clutch and you go forward, he doesn't run into the side of the car.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so good observation. So we'll have a pause and a check. We'll drive towards the curb, and as we get towards the curb, we'll put it on opposite lock. We'll secure the car, handbrake, into reverse. Again, all round observations. And because we're now going to be heading to the left, obviously more of the focus is going to be looking towards the near side of the car, my side of the car.
All right.
But before you start moving, again, good all round check to make sure nothing's coming towards us.
Okay.
Okay. We're back across the road. Again, pausing partway across just to check, make sure everything's okay. And as we head back this way, the car will head, the offside of the car will head towards the curb. We don't want to run over the curb,
Okay.
so that gives you an opportunity to then look down the side of the car
All
on
right.
your side
Okay.
and look down towards the curb. So if you look over your right shoulder and imagine where the back wheels are, you'd be
Yeah.
looking down towards the curb.
All right.
Okay, so that's what you're looking for. But we get close to the curb, but we don't hit it.
Okay.
Okay, similar thing, because we don't want to get up onto the curb in case there's pedestrians, and we don't want to get the car onto the curb anyway.
All right. Right.
Some cars are fitted with mud flaps. Potentially, you could just rip those off. So something to consider. So we've got ourselves the other side of the road, and likewise as we did going that way. In fact, here's a perfect example of somebody actually doing a turn in the road now.
Right.
So if we look at what they're doing. Can you see how far away from the curb?
Oh, yeah.
So there's no if that was a high curb, there'd be no danger of impacting.
That was a bit cheeky, wasn't it? Well, they're all of it.
You're quite impatient. You can see the importance of all-round observation, because this is the sort of thing that you will encounter,
Right.
not only on your test but in real life.
Right.
Not everybody's as patient as you may be,
Right.
so it can get a bit fraught. So again, just notice where the wheels are in the position to the curb.
Okay, so just popping on a roll. So it's nice to use stuff that's around you, but that's only really worked because that went right. If they had a rough time with that, what were you going to do? So I would focus still on what you're doing here. So to use little examples is fine. You use the guys shooting into the lay-by as observation, and that's great. But I wouldn't sit in silence just watching somebody else doing the manoeuvre, unless you're really going to talk through what they're doing in a lot of detail. I would come back to what you're doing here. Because that's a bit too long a wait in silence, I think.
Would that happen on the test?
Yeah, it might
You
do.
get that scenario?
Yeah.
But in sort of, I know you're back to, it's not what the examiner, it's not what a real learner would do, but if you were trying to show someone, let's look at this, it naturally is going to want to.
If you've got a real learner, well, let's have a look at what they're doing there. But that's too long. He won't be comfortable using that amount of time, because we're sat there, probably over a minute, and this wants to be done in under 8, so you've taken an eighth of your time away.
Yeah.
I'd be careful. But do you notice how it works? There's been nobody on this road. As soon as somebody does a turn in the road, the traffic comes from everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back and roll.
Right. So as we reverse back towards the curb, so we're going back over towards this curb, and you're looking over your right hand shoulder. Again, we don't want to hit the curb, but just before we get to that point near the curb, we want to take the steering lock off, and then you won't need all the right hand lock for us to manoeuvre this way, because your car's already pointing at an angle.
All right.
So you'll maybe need half a turn, but you'll judge that as you start pulling out. It depends on the width of the road. But obviously with the initial turn, where you want your full lock to go to your right, and then full lock to go to your left, they're the biggest elements of it.
All right. Okay.
And then it's a relatively gradual curve that we're coming out onto.
Okay.
And you'll come out, and we'll head back over to the parking position at the side of the road,
Okay.
and stop. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. It's a lot to remember, isn't it?
It's a lot to remember, but I'll help you through it.
All right.
We'll do it in similar to hopefully how your instructor did you on the left-hand reverse.
Okay.
We'll talk you through it, and I will keep you safe.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, at a roll. Tell me about that.
A bit waffly, I think.
That's okay, but there's lots of the bits and pieces, lots of little discussion points that came up there.
Yeah.
The key one was you don't want to sit in silence watching somebody else do it. What if they get it wrong?
Yeah.
So not like that. You see, they've done that wrong. If we are going to do that, then really do talk about it. You could have talked about, look which way the wheels are pointing. You have a look at where they're observing. Where's that learner looking now? There's a danger they might hit the curve there, isn't there? Because they're reversing, looking forward, aren't they? So what do you think the dangers of that are? So you could be using it, and you did use the guys coming in the lay-by, but I think in the briefing phase, I'd be, it's all right.
Try and keep to
if
it.
there's a crossroads ahead of you, then talk about that rather than use the presenter. But that it's a tricky one. Tricky. Have you covered all the salient points? Have I got the information I need to safely conduct the manoeuvre?
I haven't mentioned about other traffic, have I? What's going to happen?
Other road users.
Yeah.
We also haven't talked about the location, have we? Is it safe, legal and convenient to do it here?
You bring that up, even in sort of role, you would have chosen that position anyway.
What's the exam about? It's about safety, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've not mentioned safety aspects here. Other road users, safe, legal and convenient.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing.
Okay.
Which is why I think, rather than talk about that at the start, I think it's useful to talk about these as part of your brief.
So put it into with that then.
Because there's a what you've done is I'm trying to reflect and think from yesterday. I think you did the same with it yesterday. You talked about going to the location, and I didn't pick up on that, so that's a smack in the wrist for me. If you talk about the location when you're at the location, that'll stop you talking about going to the location. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we say, okay, we've got to choose the right place to do it. The purpose is to turn around to face the other direction. We have to think about where we do it. We have to choose a place that's safe, legal and convenient. Well, let's have a look at where we are now. Is it safe?
Yeah.
Yes, because you can say, is it legal? Yes, because we're not contravening any rules. Is it convenient? Yes, we're not really inconveniencing too many people. The locals here realise that this is the location that gets used on L test and Part 3 test for turning the road, so they've just got used to using that lay-by and breaking the rules that way.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, it's. You'll see as soon as we begin this exercise, traffic will come.
Yeah.
And look at the speed this guy's doing. Jeez.
Crazy.
Back doors open, load hanging loose. Brilliant. Got him on camera too. So how do you think the brief went? Okay, dotted around a little bit.
Yeah. Didn't flow as well as the reverse round the corner one yesterday.
Okay. What was the difference? What stopped it flowing, do you think?
If I'm brutally honest, I hadn't prepared enough.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine. That's a frank admission to make on camera.
But it's what it is.
That's fine. That's fine. It didn't run quite as much, and I think it's okay to do these as a one-way lecture for the exam. In the real world, you'd want your learner involved. It's preferable if you can do it as a question and answer. You can involve the examiner as much as you can, but you're going to get the chance to get involved and get your hands dirty, as it were, once you start the manoeuvre. But make sure you've given him the salient points, that you've covered it with sufficient detail that he can understand it. He wants to know that you're going to give him a plan. You're then going to try and execute that plan. The plan's not going to work, clearly, because he's going to get it wrong. So you then get the chance to fix as you go along and end up with a learner who knows what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how to do it, and they can do it on their own. That's it. That's what transfer of learning is taking place. So it's important that we get these to be fairly flowing. Ask questions. So controlling the car, how do you think you're going to do that? Don't know. Right, well, what you're going to do is, so you can do it in that sort of manner, and it's still short and punchy, but it gets the relevant points across.
Yeah.
So that's something to have a think about.
Yeah, because I left it very woolly by just saying, well, I'll keep you safe. Not, if cars come, this is what's going to happen.
I'll keep you safe. How are you going to do that? What are we looking for?
Yeah.
So you talk about the physical aspects of it. You linked in, that's quite nice, linking in with it. We're here. You made the point again about the steering, you see, because we've got to get all the steering from one end to the other. If you're doing that, you're like, oh, right, yeah, I see what you mean. So, okay, so some homework to do. Mm-hmm. Good all weekend.
Yeah.
So that's your social life shafted.
It'll be worth it.
Absolutely. So, back in roll.
We're just on the...
Oh, go on then.
I just want to check something before I actually do this.
Fine.
That when we get to that point and half of West Yorkshire turns up, we just keep our calm. Now, what is the etiquette? If there's something coming from this way, and we're over that side, obviously, we're going to let it pass.
Yeah.
What's the etiquette for, if it's on your side, expect them to wait? And...
So in a real live situation with a learner driver, if that happened, what would you do? Do you think?
Well, I suppose you're going to wait up at the time and just see what the reaction is of that driver, whether he's going to hold or what he looks like he's going to go for it.
You can't really reverse back to where you started, can you? If you're at that side.
Well, you're already blocking the road, aren't you?
Yeah. Make eye contact. So in roll, if it happens, the examiner will say, what should I do here? Wants to test your knowledge. Let's get eye contact with them. Let's see what their intentions are first.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've begun to move and there's something coming, stop and wait.
Yeah.
If you've already completed the leg, if you stare at them, they'll go around the back of you. So so we're going to make eye contact with them. It A, lets them know we've seen them, and it B, also lets them know that we're waiting for them to make a decision. He then might fire at you. Should I wave them past? No. We're going to make them make their own decisions. That was uncomfortably close. We're going to make them make their own decisions here. All right, okay. If all else fails, then you as the instructor just keep the car still. Get rid of them.
Yeah. Just secure the car.
Yeah. Now, you shouldn't have that, hopefully, because if you look at them long enough, they'll come past. They'll not wait. The last thing they'll do is wait. If they're going to wait, they'll indicate clearly.
Yeah.
We seem to have a lot of very, very impatient drivers in this particular locale. So just make the best of it you can, really.
Yeah.
Occasionally, if it gets out of hand, I've seen it happen, not very often, but the examiner will come at a roll and deal with it. I'll give you for example of that. I had a situation up in Newcastle. We're in the Gosforth area, and we're coming into a not Gosforth. Anyway, never mind. And the Newcastle Kenton Bar Test Centre. Examiner's in roll as a learner, comes into this road, double park, line of cars on both sides of the road. There's a car coming. There's about, I don't know, a couple of 100 feet of cars, loads of them. We turn in, a car turns in the other end at the same time. The examiner says, "What should I do here?" And the PDI said, "Just hang back, let's see what's happening here." The guy at the other end stops, flashes his lights. He said, "Oh, he's flashed his lights, I can go, can't I?" No. Let's just make sure. The guy flashes his lights again. He said, "Well, are you sure he means that for you?" Examiner, I'm not 100% sure. At that point, the guy puts his arm out the window and waves us through. You went, "Oh, he's waving me through." Candidate for test said, "Is that a clear signal?" He went, "Yeah, it's about as clear as it could be." So, okay, proceed with caution. As we pulled into the gap and got about 50 foot in, the guy pulled into the gap. There's nowhere for us to go. The examiner stops and says, "What should I do?" By this time, this guy's rolled right up to the front of us and is now gesticulating and not a happy puppy. So the examiner said, "What should I do?" The candidate on test, bless her, was like, "I'm not 100% sure. Hang on, give me a second to think." And the examiner just said, coming out of roll, he reversed it back and came out, glowered at the guy that came through. I mean, that's on what planet?
Yeah. Actually, haven't given a signal to come.
Yeah, it's harsh. I mean, he could see it, and the lad on test was actually doing quite well anyway. But anyway, that's an aside. So you got to make the best of it that you can. Try and work out what's happening. If you can encourage them to get out of the way without waving them through, then yeah. But it's a difficult one sometimes because people can be stupid. I have had it where I've been at the midway point on a turn of the road and somebody's rolled right up to us and just hand on the horn. What on earth do you think you're doing? You know, you can't get involved with these people because they're clearly not very bright anyway. And they're the same type of people that'll happily get out of the car and punch you in the face. And
Yeah.
if you punch him back, you're now done for assault and you're off the register. You can't do it.
So just a cheery wave and
Just think to yourself
Bear with
it's
us.
a good driver on a bad day. Also, perhaps think under your breath it's a shame when cousins marry and just wait to get rid of them. So, back in roll.
Okay. So during the course of the manoeuvre, I will keep you safe.
Okay.
Undoubtedly, once we start the manoeuvre, other traffic will appear. Try not to panic,
Okay.
and we'll deal with it as it happens.
Okay.
But I will give you guidance as to what to do,
Right.
and we'll manage the situation as to how close the cars are.
All right.
Hopefully, if we're in the right position, the cars will drive round us.
All right.
They may have to wait, but I'll keep you safe and
Okay.
guide you as to what we need to do.
Do I have priority once I've started?
Once you're across the road, if you're about to start making the manoeuvre and a car's coming towards us, then we stop.
All right.
Wait till it's clear. If it's clear and we're committed and we're across the road, then there's not a lot we can do. We're at the point where we're blocking the road.
All right.
So we've just got to complete the manoeuvre.
Okay, so pop on a roll there. So yeah, we're in the way. We're the one who's contravening other people's road space, so we give way to everybody. Now, Now, if you're halfway across, you're going to have to complete the manoeuvre. If you're already there, you're going to have to wait and see what the other people do.
Yeah.
So it's always, you know, the other road user has priority here because we're cutting across their path.
Right.
So I threw that in just to see if he'd take the bait. Bag and roll.
Blew that one. So yeah, I'll keep you safe, guide you as to what we need to do,
Okay.
and then we can complete the manoeuvre safely.
All right, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
What I'd just like you to do, I always set off from the car park, and you've just got a short demonstration of your clutch control there.
All right.
But because we are going to be moving at extremely slow speeds here,
Right.
I'd just like you to demonstrate to me just moving forward so I can see you crawling, and then I'd like you to do a short reverse just to see how your clutch control is with that, because it really needs to be very slow.
Oh, okay.
And can you just demonstrate to me, just with the engine off, how you're going to be positioned for doing your reverse? How do you normally sit for, say, for example, doing the left-hand turn in reverse?
All right. Oh, that's shuffled around a bit. Like that.
Yeah, okay. And what about with the clutch control? We're okay with that? Can you demonstrate to me that obviously because you're twisted and you're going to be steering, that your foot's not going to slip off the clutch while we're
Yeah,
manoeuvring?
I sort of hold it a little bit higher, like that.
Okay.
So I haven't like got my foot on the floor.
Yeah,
My
so-
heel, just like that.
Well, you need to keep your foot in the normal position. It's just that you're going to be slightly twisted around, that's all.
All right.
Okay, so as you were doing on your reverse around the left-hand corner, obviously you've got to position yourself so you can see round the back. But there is a danger when you turn that your foot can slip off. So if you can just get yourself into the position for reversing,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
and then put the car into reverse for me. Okay.
So you said I need my heel on the floor.
Ideally, you need your heel where it would normally be.
Well, I'd normally have it off the floor.
Well, you need very little movement on the clutch, because we're only moving it a tiny bit, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like we're doing a straight line reverse. Have you done a straight line reverse?
Yeah, I did that
Okay.
then as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't have your foot right up here, because it's uncomfortable, and if your leg starts twitching, which it can when it gets uncomfortable, it could slip off, and that's the last thing you want. So with your heel on the floor, the clutch, because you're only lifting it up a tiny bit, like an
Look, I'll
inch.
just go at it all. You're getting bogged down here.
You know.
You just asked me to demonstrate. See how it works. If I can do it with my foot off the floor, leave me alone.
All right. Okay.
See, it's very easy to get bogged down. No, you've got to. But have a think about it. When you're reversed, do you keep your heel on the floor when you're doing that? You don't, do you?
I don't know.
Have a try.
I'm preaching here. I'm gonna have to watch. I'm gonna have to have a look. I think I do.
It is very easy to get caught up in such a tiny little detail where you're just about to ask me to do it. If it's causing me a problem, then stop me doing it. But if it isn't, just leave it.
It was more the bit of, as we did yesterday. I went forward, went back. That's great. But then it's obviously when you're shuffling around, is your foot going to come off the? That's what I was just trying to get to.
I appreciate that. But you've just asked me to demonstrate. Just watch what happens. Am I controlling it okay? If I am, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just because it might be slightly different the way you would do it, that's okay. There's nowhere anywhere that it says you should have your heel on the floor. It's just easier. It's
Yeah.
best practice. But if they did it that way, it doesn't really matter, does it? As long as they're able to control the car. It's the same as, people get bent out of shape about, you've got to have some gas on you. No, you don't. You have to control the car. That's all that matters.
Because sometimes you don't need gas, do you?
Yeah, they're being marked on how their control is, not where their foot is on the pedal.
So if I remember right, I actually picked up on that yesterday, because I said if we're coming backwards, like on this, we're on a slight slope, you're probably not going to need your accelerator, but you'll cover your brake.
Now, it's as long as, when I've had candidates go for tests and they've not used any gas at all on a manoeuvre, and on one of them we reversed around a left-hand corner, uphill around the corner, 3 of us in the car now, no gas on at all, and the examiner actually remarked, it's remarkable clutch control at the end of the test. We did the manoeuvre, that's tremendous. He said, I thought you were going to stall because you had no gas on, but because you controlled it, they're not bothered. Are we safe? It's all about safety. Is what I'm able to do safe on the L test? Is what you're doing here safe? And are you teaching me to be safe? That's all it's about.
Yeah.
So that's what they're assessing. Are you giving me the right information? Have you given me a plan that I can follow that's going to keep me and all the other road users around me safe? And are you then making sure that we implement that plan in a safe way?
To that end, I've just thought of something else that I haven't covered whilst doing the manoeuvres. That yes, it's going to drop down on the camber, so we need to cover the foot brake about here. But likewise, when we're reversing back, we need to set the gas, put a bit of extra gas on to get us up the camber, and then ease off as we...
You've covered the camber, in as much as you've told me that I'm probably going to have to cover the brake as we go towards the curb. You didn't say that in reverse, but I can choose to use that or not. If I've accepted the point going forward, fine. But you're about to find out how many clutch control is, so you're eliminating some other stuff.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because you can do it in a straight line, or you can do it as you're going towards the curb. I think it's fine to do it in a straight line, because you're going to eliminate any problems before you're sideways on the traffic.
That's the thing, because if it's somebody I've never seen before, I'd sooner check it here than when we're potentially launching towards the bins or whatever.
Yeah. And if it was a brand new learner that you were meeting, which is what the situation is here, you take them somewhere quieter than this to do the first turn in the road. You wouldn't be on a busy road like this. It's this. Oh no, I haven't said that's gone quiet again.
Yeah. They're just waiting around the corner.
Shall we have a go?
Let's.
Back and roll.
Okay, so if you feel comfortable, we'll have a go at the manoeuvre. Okay.
So you said you want me to demonstrate the clutch control, you said?
Yeah. What we'll do, I'll just get you to pull forward, just nice and gently. Keep in this position of where we are now from the curb, so just straight ahead. Go up towards the grate.
All right.
And I just want you to just do your checks before we set off. Okay. Okay. Okay, stop. Now we need to be slower than that.
Slower than that?
Absolutely slower. Barely moving.
All right.
So, just wait for this car to get out of the way. So when he's cleared, we can pop it into reverse, and we'll just reverse back to the starting point. So barely, way too fast. Off. Slow, slow, slow. Brake, brake, brake. We'll be barely moving, barely moving. So you probably need no gas on this, because we're actually on a little slope at the moment.
Okay. Right, okay.
So on here, you're getting at the biting point, and you're going to be covering the brake as well.
Right.
Literally crawling.
All right.
So if you just try that again for me, we'll reverse a little bit more.
Okay. Okay. So let's add a roll there. So you've identified there's a problem. How much of the 3 boxes have you ticked? You spotted it.
Yeah.
You've told me about it.
Well, now
You've told me I need to be slower.
Yeah. Well, now I want you to demonstrate you can do it slower again, and then I'll get you to do it on your own.
How am I going to do that?
Well, I'm going to guide you.
Okay. Okay. I'll leave you to it then. Back and roll.
Hang on, I've missed something here. Set myself up for a fall. Hang on.
You may have done. You may not. So we've identified the fault.
Yeah.
We haven't analysed it, have we? Why is
Right.
that happening?
Okay. Yeah.
So if we just go it again, I'm just going to do the same again. You're going to tell me to slow down. I don't know how.
Okay.
That's the line I'm taking.
Right.
So unless you cover, you've spotted the fault, great, brilliant. This is too fast. If you let me turn sideways, it's going to cause chaos for you. Go fix this. And to fix it, it's never going to change unless we analyse it properly,
Yeah.
and then we'll put some remedial in place. So you've got to analyse it so that I see that it's a fault.
Yeah.
Well, that seems pretty slow to me. I don't see it as a fault. That's all right. I can manage that. Do you not think that's going to cause you problems when you do the turn of the road? No.
Okay.
So you've got to convince me, A, that it's a fault,
Yep.
B, that it needs fixing, and C, we're going to run through that flow chart again. How are we going to fix it? And then get me to do it.
Okay. Right.
So if you don't cover all them, we're just going to shuffle back and forward, and then as soon as you put me in the turn of the road, I'm on that path before you've got your mouth open.
Right. Okay.
Back and roll.
So that's a little bit too fast.
All right.
If you just think about where we watched the other car doing the turn in the road earlier,
Oh, yeah.
remember how slowly that was moving?
It
It was very slow, wasn't it?
felt about the same speed as what I did there, I think.
Yeah, but you're looking at it, you can't feel what speed it's doing.
All right.
But this is way too quick for what we're doing, because we're doing a very slow manoeuvre across the road.
All right.
If you think about the speed you were doing, how quickly we're going to be on the other side of the road, do you think?
Well, I don't think it would take us too long, I suppose, but...
Yeah, and in that time you've got to get all your steering on,
Right.
and at the other side of the road you've got to take that steering off and put your opposite lock on.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why you really need that slow speed.
Right.
If you'd done that on like your reverse turn to the left, if that all went well, you'll remember that you had full control and you had time to react to things if you're going wide or
I see
whatever.
what you're saying.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah, so slow is better, right? Yeah.
Okay. So we can just demonstrate that. So we'll go forward just a couple of feet. You just show me that you can control the car at very slow speed, just using very gentle clutch control.
Okay.
Barely need to use the gas. Okay, just take your foot off the gas pedal. Just take your foot off the gas. That's too fast. So you just want to be just at that biting point. Just get the car on its biting point. Okay. Now just ease it up a tiny bit. Whoa, too much. Way too fast. Barely wants to be moving.
Alright.
Okay. And what we'll do, just
Think I'll pop it a roll. So again, we've done part of the job.
yeah.
So you think of that flow chart. You've identified it now, we've analysed it, and I've come onto your side of thinking, oh, I see what you're saying, right? Oh, so slower, yeah. Do I know how to fix that? So you've attempted to do it, but I've just done the same as I've done before. So what we need is to get me to think, all right, so not as much clutch up then. So it's, you're letting a little bit too much clutch up there. Letting a little bit less clutch up will make the car move slower. Let's try that, a bit less than that. Oh, right, I see oh, right. Now I understand. But you're still going to have to remind me.
Yeah.
So, and this is where people can get really bogged down. They think, well, hang on a minute, he's just agreed that slower would be better. Yeah, but you haven't finished the job off.
Yeah.
So as part of your analysis, also needs to be, do we know how we can stop that happening?
Well, that was hopefully what I was going to cover by getting you to reverse and get you to show
I'm
me.
just going to do the same again. Just going to do the same again. And again, you can tell me to do it. As soon as you reduce that support, I'm going to do it again.
So, before I got you to do it backwards, if I then said, right, okay, could you feel the difference it made by just lifting the clutch up a tiny bit so we barely moved, just off the biting point, how much better control you had?
So coming out of the road, think about, I think this speed's slow enough. I think this is slow, don't I? So maybe you could demonstrate to me what you mean. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Put your clutch down, put it in reverse, and you reverse it back. This speed. Oh, that really is slow. So what I've done is I haven't lifted the clutch up as slowly, as much, and I've got the car to move more slowly. All right, do you want to try that? Then you've got me to do it. Then I've also accepted it and then do it. So
yeah.
but it's most important is you've demonstrated, but you've got to get me to do it. It's no good you telling me about it, how good an idea it is, because I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing, because I don't understand. Because I'm as dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah.
Now, the examiner isn't playing a pupil who is as dumb as a box of rocks. He is wanting to see that you can put those component parts in place, that you can spot the faults, you can analyse it, you can get me to be part of that analysis, to understand that A, it's a fault, and B, why it's a problem, C, how are we going to fix it. Then, of course, you've still got to make sure that that happens.
Yeah.
So there's your remedial. So the me understanding how to fix it sort of crosses remedial analysis and remedial. So it's so important that we get that right. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And this is where it can become very, very frustrating on test.
And the other danger is, like now, tests have been long gone.
Yeah.
So I haven't even got you to move across the road yet.
So it's so important that when we see, well, as soon as we're dealing with a fault, that we look at all those component parts, because if they're not all in place, the whole house of cards just crumbles, and then you end up frustrated. You end up thinking, oh, I've run out of time, so you push on, and it's carnage. You turn the car sideways with this level of clutch control.
Could you then, obviously, under the test thing, because you're so limited in your time, could you jump straight? So I keep forgetting about these. Could you sort of jump straight to, right, I'll show you, this is the speed I mean?
Well, as soon as I've showed too fast a speed, I want it much, much slower than that. He might respond, but I didn't. I just did exactly the same.
Yeah,
All right,
because you feel...
I don't understand.
It
How
was
do we do
all
it
right,
slower?
yeah.
This is slow. No, slower than that. But when they were doing theirs, clearly they were much slower than I was, but I'm saying, yeah, that's about how slow I am there. I'm not. So I'm labouring under this misconception that what I'm doing is okay. You have to sort of educate me, not by telling me what to do, or by saying it's slower and louder, or punching me in the side of the face, but by getting me to see that it is a problem, and then getting me to be involved in the process of, well, how are we going to fix that? So if I see that it's a problem, oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I've agreed that that's a goal we should work on. How are we going to work on that goal? Well, here's why it's a problem. Here's how we can fix it. Let's have a try of that. So you get me to fix it by putting that in place, by telling me. Then you need to make absolutely certain that I can do it on my own before you let me turn this car on the side there. Yeah. If you're going this route. Otherwise, I'm going to cause chaos.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
So demonstrate it for me then.
Okay.
With a little talk through about what you're doing. So we've just said, I've agreed that, oh yeah, and you've said, okay, slow on that, and I've just come forward the way I have. No, this is what I'm on about. Dummy.
Okay, Bob, so I think it'd be helpful if I just demonstrated to you the sort of control and the speed that we need for this particular manoeuvre.
Right.
Because I think in your mind, the speed that you're doing, you think that's slow.
Yeah,
and it is slow compared to
slow.
normal driving speed.
Right.
However, for these manoeuvres, it needs to be much, much slower.
Oh, right.
So I'll demonstrate to you and if you look at how I'm using the pedals, just how little movement there's going to be, and no input on the gas to get the car moving as to where we want it to be.
All right, okay.
Okay, so this is weird. I've never done this. Turn it on there. That's a point on the demonstration because I'm sitting on this side. Have I got to turn this way?
It doesn't really matter as long as you take effective observation because you're only going to move a couple of feet.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking if you're in normal environment, you would expect someone to be looking that way, wouldn't you?
You would just take effective observation. Just demonstrate. I wouldn't get better.
Just a point of order for that, where he'd pick up on something.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. No, that's fine. You just demonstrate. You're not getting in anybody's way, so you're not creating it. As long as you make sure it's clear behind you before you move.
I'll remove that before I try and get the handbrake. Okay, so I'm covering the foot brake. Clutch is down. Wait till this bus gets out of the way. That's a good example of why we do all-round observation.
Oh, right.
These things can happen. Cars, vehicles, pull up behind us. We need to be aware of that all the time.
Oh, okay.
Make our intentions clear. One thing to remember, of course, when we do put it into reverse, that the warning lights will come up at the back of the car with the white lights, showing people what our intentions are. Okay, so let's prepare the car. So covering the foot brake and brake off. Okay.
How slow is that?
As slow as that.
Oh, wow.
And that gives us time to...
That's hardly moving.
Hardly moving at all. But if anything happens, I can just stop. There's no panic.
So how are you doing that?
So just by doing that, so as we get to the biting point, and it's barely moving it, probably the width of a coin. It's just that little bit, and sometimes you just feather it just to slow it down. And of course, we can use the foot brake. Because I'm on a slope here, that gravity is going to help us as well. So I don't need the accelerator, I don't need any gas. The car will just work on that.
Okay, so error roll. So you've now demonstrated it. I asked you the supplemental question there. How are you doing it? Tell them how you're doing it. I'm not lifting the clutch up hardly anything at all. It's the teeniest one. I'm just nibbling away at it. So just to keep it that slow. If it's moving too quick, I'm pushing the clutch down a bit. Oh, right. Now get me to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so
Bang and roll.
I've demonstrated a suitable speed for this manoeuvre. So if you want to just show me that you can do it.
Forwards or backwards?
We'll go backwards first, and then we can go forwards. So. That's quicker than I was doing it, wasn't it? So
yeah,
take the speed right off. Just keep your steering on a straight course. That's it. Slower than that. Slower than that. Slower than that. Slower than that. That's fine.
Okay.
So if we go forward, just show me we can do it going forward. Now because we're on a slight slope, you may want to put just a small amount of gas on. Just watch your steering, that's it.
That's really slow.
Yeah. Okay, so
So out of row, that's fixed, isn't it?
yeah.
I've done it on my own without any input from you. You had to give me a little bit of help to begin with. That's fine. I'm now able to do that on my own. Oh, as slow as that. All right, okay. So you've fixed that now. That doesn't mean it's not going to reappear.
No.
But you know, once you've got into, there's a problem here.
But then you can get to the bit which I remember what we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. Fix the problem. But it's not enough just to tell me that there's a problem and to expect that I'm going to. And you know, you've made a compelling case, but so what?
Yeah, it's again.
Have you gone through those component parts? Have you spotted it? Have you analysed it? Have you got me on board with it? Have you got me to be able to do it?
So it's that last bit I keep forgetting, getting you to show me that you can
You
physically
think in
do
terms of those core comps all the time.
it. Yeah.
If you think of that flow chart, do I know it's a fault? If I don't, make me aware of it. Do I know why it's a problem? If I don't, make me aware of it. Well, it's a problem because you haven't got much space to do it. Oh, right. Do I know how I can fix that problem? Not really. Make me aware. Demonstrate if you like. And then the final bit, get me to do it. Transfer that responsibility to me. And then the job's done. That's it. The transfer of responsibility has happened. And in a safe way. And that's all this test's all about.
Yeah.
Sounds so simple, doesn't it?
It does.
Back in roll.
Right. Okay. So
I know we're back out of roll. I know we're extending the timeline here, but there's a lot of stuff here that'll transfer to a lot of other things.
well, I want to get it right, so don't want to skimp over it. But it's getting everything the right order. Like I say, I'm almost there. There's a pattern emerging. I'm sort of 2/3 of the way of identifying a fault and giving an explanation as to maybe the consequences.
Just got to take me along with you.
It's getting you to confirm that you understand it and show me. Yeah.
And it's a difficulty because in the real world, learner drivers will go, all right, oh yeah, okay, I will go with that. Well, this guy's not going to do that. You will meet some learner drivers that need that level of support, and the DVSA feel that that's the way that people learn. You know, some of us, there are other ways of doing things. It doesn't make one right and one wrong, but that's the pattern that they want you to demonstrate. So we have to get used to doing that. Once you're through your test, I'll show you a different way of doing it. It's more powerful for real learners who are more invested in the process and who are not using it as a role to assess you. And that's the key thing all the time. You're under assessment.
Yeah.
And he wants to see that you're ticking those boxes. And I don't mean that to say that that's all the test's about. It's not a box ticking exercise. They want to see that the component parts.
Just enroll a set.
Go on.
Got a pedestrian just walking down the right hand side.
All right.
Would that be a good time to do a turn, you think? Especially with a pram. So she's walking down towards us. Would that be a good time?
Might scare her, I suppose.
And what else might happen? Maybe just scare her. If we get too close to the curb, what's the biggest risk?
Or might hit them, I suppose.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. And that's also the main reason that we do things very slowly. So you've got time to react and stop.
I don't know. Very nice. Well done. At that point, back in roll.
Okay. So we'll now undertake the manoeuvre.
Okay.
Have a go at that. I say I will help you. And as we set off to do the manoeuvre, we need to try and do all steering while the vehicle's moving. I don't want you to turn it onto full lock while we're stationary.
All right.
Do you know why we keep the car moving?
Well, I mean, Stuart was on about that on me reverse. It's dry steering or something.
That's
because
it, yeah.
It wears the car out.
It puts a lot of strain on the steering,
All right.
and it can wear your tyres out.
Right.
Okay. So we just get the car moving a little bit, and then we can put it onto full lock,
Okay.
and we'll head over to the opposite side of the road,
Okay.
having carried out all your observations before we move. Okay. And then, can you remember what I said about when we get to the side, what we're going to do? So we're steering around that way. What do we need to do to
So
reverse
just
back.
come on, Roll. Are you going to give me another brief?
Yeah.
Or are you going to talk me through it?
Yeah, fair comment. God, it's too easy to drop into it.
It is. Once you start it, no, hang on a second, you've given me the brief. And part and parcel of that is that we've chopped and chop here, because we've discussed a lot of stuff all the way. But once you're in the mode, you've given the brief, get on with the talk through.
Yeah.
And fix things as you go.
Right.
Back and roll.
Okay. So, we'll undertake the turn in the road now, please, Bob. Okay. That was left-hand indicator. Why do you think that's not a good idea?
I thought he was
Leave an
going to stop.
indicator. Exactly, yeah. So you were confused, I was confused.
Oh.
So just another point to think of, that don't always take signals on face value.
All right, okay.
Okay. Right, so when you're ready, prepare the car. Okay, all round observation.
You want me to go?
Sorry, when we're ready, move off. Okay, steering on. Use all the wheel, Bob. Speed, stop. Okay. Okay, now we need to get the vehicle back across to the side of the road, so handbrake on, into reverse.
What should I do about him?
Well, because of the position we're in, we're going to have to continue. So put it into reverse, and as we start moving backwards, don't forget your observations. Left hand shoulder full. Okay. Just go back as you are.
I'll take us forward at a roll.
God, see why it's. Okay. Melt down
So,
there.
you need to control the situation.
Yeah. Like I say, it's just so. Because once you set off, you've literally got 2 seconds, haven't you?
So what could you have done different there, Ian?
Right. So before we moved, we said, right, remember as we set off, what do we need to do with the steering?
Which way we're going to steer?
Yeah.
And as you see that it's going, stop me.
Yeah.
Don't let it continue, because then it's just like, oh, cack.
Got a crash.
We're going back to where we are, where we started from. So take control. Remember, this is my first attempt. I've never done this before. We know that in the real world, learner drivers can sort of work it out. This guy's only going to do what you tell him to do.
Yeah.
So he said, just go back. All right. I'll go back. So it's and at this point, if this happened, it doesn't mean you failed.
So it's how
You're going to get
manage it.
another bite of the cherry. So just think, all right, that didn't work. What else do I need to do? The most important thing, just clear your head. Think, right, that didn't work. Let's look forward. What's next? Have another bash. Back and roll.
Okay. Right, we're just a little bit far away from the curb at this point, Bob.
All right.
So if we can just reverse and get up to sort of normal position, about a foot away from the curb. To get your all-round observation before we move. It's a little bit closer than that. And straighten the car up. That's fine. Okay, handbrake on. Okay, so just as a reminder, so as soon as we start to move, and we're going to be crawling, you want to get the steering onto the full right-hand lock as quickly as possible.
Oh yeah.
And what did we say the best way of doing that is?
Oh yeah. Big movements, you said.
That's it, yeah. And as we use the speed of you've just shown me just now, so
Yeah.
we're literally just crawling, and as we get partway across the road, I'll tell you when to start putting the opposite lock on.
All
so we'll
right.
need to get onto the full opposite lock.
Okay.
Okay. And if you listen to my instructions, I'll tell you when to stop.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start roll. Is that the right way to do it?
Yeah. You've got control of it.
Right.
I've just demonstrated things that are going to cause you a problem. You've talked to me about it. Steering was the issue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't get enough on. You get over there, and then a car comes, and it's like, oh God, and then you're hurried to get out of the way. You let me mess it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Panic.
Stay calm. Easy to say, not so easy to do.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this. So.
This transfers to everything else. to absolutely everything else that you're doing.
Yeah. This is it's probably the worst, isn't it?
This is the easiest to from this seat. This is by far the easiest to mess up.
Oh no, but as from here, this is probably one of the most difficult ones.
It's the hardest to control because you're in a limited time frame, and I only have to have a half a mile an hour too much, and you're in trouble. I only got to do that a couple of times rather than that, and we're at this angle rather than that. And then a car comes, and it's like it can escalate very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, they all can, but this one in particular.
And plus, you've got the chance of almost being boxed in with traffic as well. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bag and roll.
So, you happy with what we need to do with the steering?
Bigger movements, you
Yeah.
said.
And when we need to turn the wheel when we get to the other side of the road?
Yes.
We want
It was the other way, you said.
Yep. Totally to the other side.
All right.
Full left-hand lock. Okay. And then we'll stop. Handbrake into reverse, and then across.
Right.
Okay. So I'll guide you through it.
Okay.
Okay. So get the car ready. So very gently. Okay. Full right-hand lock. Full right-hand lock. Big movements. Quicker, quicker. That's it. Nice and slow. Slower than that. Slower than that. Okay. Now start putting it onto opposite lock. Quick as you can. Full movement and stop. Stop. That's good. Handbrake on. Into reverse.
So just have a roll for a second. Well, we're clear. The difference there was what? Was it me or was it you?
Me, hopefully.
Bag and roll.
Okay, so full all-round observation. We've got a car coming up towards us, so
should
we'll
I
just
do
wait
about
and
him?
just see what he does. Right, he's slowing up. So all-round observation.
What about the one behind him?
Yeah, he's tucked in behind. Looks like he's going around that way. Okay, happy he's stopping. We've got a cyclist coming up here. He's going round. Okay, so full all-round checks, and then prepare to reverse. So again, nice and slowly like you did coming over this side. That's it, slow than that. Full left-hand lock, full left-hand lock. That's it. That's excellent. That's perfect speed. Okay, now stop and just have a quick look round over to your right. Okay, and now as we go back, we want to be looking over your right shoulder. Keep your full left-hand lock on.
Oh, sorry.
Now put it onto full right, onto right lock. That's plenty. And stop. Okay, he's letting us through. So all-round observation, and gently go forward. Nice steady speed. Okay, and then that's perfect. Just pull up just beyond the brown bin. Your normal space about 3 feet from the curb. Sorry, a foot from the curb. Okay, we'll just pull up between these two bins where it's safe and convenient.
Okay, error roll. Tell me about that.
Doesn't feel too bad. You're going to tell
It
me
always-
which
no,
5
no.
minutes I've just missed.
No, it always feels good when it works well. Why did it work well?
I took on board what you said. I tried to control it.
You had me by the neck. There was nowhere for me to go. I tried it, stop. So once you tell me to stop the car, I can't get it wrong while I have a good look around. So I don't think it would hurt to do that, really. If you just stop there, let's have a look around, okay, and then very gently, constantly telling me slower, slower, slower. That's it. More steering, more bigger movements. So you controlled it completely from that seat. Now, that means that it happens. You can then be saying to me, so how was that? Well, that felt fairly easy. What made it easy? And he will engage this time in more of a sort of client-centered dialogue, if you like. What was easier about it? Well, I just felt I had more time. What gave you more time? Well, I was going a bit slower. Did the steering help? Oh yeah, those big movements. Okay. So in light of all that, do you think you could ever go with that on your own? Yeah, or do you still want a little bit of help from me? Give him the option. And it depends how much time's gone by. If you're getting close to the end, you'll say, well, I wouldn't mind to go on my own. And then you'll be able to see if you've done it or not.
So you'd always aim to, once you've done the sort of full guidance bit, say, right.
I would hope to get this done within 3 goes. And hopefully, if you've managed the time right, you should get 3 goes and you should get at least 2. So you want the brief fairly slick, him involved, and then when the mistakes come, make sure we go through that full flow chart, that we cover everything. Am I aware it's a problem? Am I aware why it's a problem? Am I aware how I need to fix it, or how I can fix it? And then make sure that I do fix it. Firstly, by you probably controlling it, so you got some preventative, and then getting them to do it on his own. Then your remedial is complete, and that's once that circle's complete, you'll get it right, and you'll probably get it right for the rest of the session. But it may come back in a little bit later, as you just saw there. Even though we've talked about it, my steering still wasn't terribly good. I started to steer at the wrong time. You corrected me, so of course I'm intent on getting that wrong for you. There was that. And that we would have ended up so that we wouldn't have got round on the third go, because I was taking the lock off. So punchy brief. Once you're dealing with the faults, make sure we follow the whole thing through, and that'll take you to where you need to be. And there's a lot of the principles that what we've done there, certainly on the fault spotting and stuff. The speed this guy's coming. Wow, bless. So how did that fit in with where you're at?
It made more sense that it was. I thought actually it'd be more uncomfortable, especially the first time was bad enough. I totally nudged that up. But even on the second one, where I felt I was giving more control, even when the car came up, it does put a different pressure on. Until he sort of sussed out. I mean, he was quite fine about it, so I said, "Yeah, off you go," sort of thing.
But even then, he still started to creep towards you.
Yeah.
I like that you waited until he'd stopped before you said, "Right, he's okay with us," because he was creeping. Even though he'd given us go on, he was still creeping forward.
Yeah.
We'll pick that up on camera, unfortunately.
And
never trust people, because other rodeos will mess with you.
And that's the thing. So I suppose in that respect, it wasn't too bad, because it was just really that one car. The others had come round the back. And it was almost, that one was almost as comfortable doing that left reverse yesterday.
Okay, good.
So
It's, you know, I mean,
it's getting the thing is, like I say, it's setting it up to say, right, this is what I want you to do, and recognising barely as the cars move, right, stop or do something now, because it is such a blink, like I say, before you at the other side.
There's some basic techniques and skills that they want to see from you, and if you've got them in place like you had on that last stint, then everything will work. If you haven't, then trouble beckons. And it's so easy. You just think, all right, so you've told me it's a problem, I don't know how to fix it, so I'm not going to fix it. You know, putting the assessor head on. And I know I keep banging on about it, but I think it's so important to see him. He's not a learner at all, he's an assessor. And if you don't do the things that are required, he will not change his behaviour. You'll just keep on doing the same thing. It's not because he's belligerent or because he's stupid. It's because you've not done what you need to do.
Yeah, and that's the point of it. So.
I think we'll treat you to a cup of tea now. Put you through enough for this little session.
No, that was...
There we go. Okay, so what he'll say to you is that concludes the phase one. Give me a couple of moments and I'll make some notes on my pad for this next phase. I'd like you to treat me as I'm a trained pupil. My last instructor said I was going to do some work today on approaching junctions to turn left and the right. He can't make it, he's got an appointment somewhere. I'm familiar with the layout and controls of this car. My name's Richard, feel free to call me that. He'll mark his notes, you can get yourself ready for the onslaught.
Okay.
And when you're ready, we'll begin.
Okay, good afternoon, Richard.
Afternoon.
I'm Andy. I'm your instructor this afternoon.
Hi, Andy.
I understand your regular instructor can't make it today.
Yeah, he's got an appointment somewhere. I can't remember what he said it was, but he said he'd be back next week.
Okay, well, that's fine. Well, he's asked me to give you some help and guidance on approaching junctions.
All right.
Turning right and left. Okay. So what have we done so far? How many lessons have you had?
Quite a few. I've got my test coming up before too long.
Okay. So, as regards the turns, have you done much work on the turning left and right?
Yeah,
Has,
yeah.
has he identified any particular problems he thinks you may have?
Nah, he just said he wanted to have another look at it today.
Okay.
Some fine tuning, he said.
Okay then. So we're not aware of any particular problems. Do you have access to lessons at all outside with an instructor? Is he
No,
part
it's
of your family?
just the ones I have in
Purely time. Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't had a chance to do additional practice. All right. So when we're looking at approaching junctions, a normal drive, there's a few things we need to consider, as with any manoeuvre that we're going to undertake. So just think back to what you normally do in your driving situation. So if we're going to turn left or right, what was the first thing you'd be looking at?
Well, you'd have a look at the junction, have a look at the layout, and then use like the MSM routine.
Okay. Would you check your mirrors before you get to the junction?
Yeah.
Okay. And what else might we consider?
Signal.
Yeah. Okay. And then getting your signal, what else are we going to look at?
Well, that's just like negotiating a turn.
So we look at your position on the road, yeah?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So are you aware of, for either left or right, what can you tell me about how you know when to turn to actually start steering?
Well, you just sort of follow the curb around if you're going left, and on the right you put yourself in a position where you're going to go in on your side of the road.
Okay. And have you got any aids that you can use to help you with that? So you're always on the right line each time?
Yeah, you give me like a point that I can line up with at the bottom of the mirror.
The mirror.
With
Okay.
the white line.
Yeah. What about when you're doing a left turn? Do you use anything to use as a guide for that?
Nah, just follow the curb round. It's just
Okay.
sort of
All right.
seems to work.
And what about the importance of when we go around the junction? Why is it important that we don't cut the corner?
Well, you're on somebody else's piece of road there, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Okay. On the approach to junctions, what do you think's a good speed?
I suppose it depends on the junction, really. Need to be slow enough to be able to get round, but not so slow that you're slowing people down.
So we're looking at that car just doing a left turn there now.
Yeah. Yeah. What was he, about 10 miles an hour, was he? Something like that?
Probably about 10-15 miles an hour. But again, on that particular junction, it's all relative to what he can see
Right.
to his right at that point. Okay. Right, that roll.
Okay.
That's as far as I was going to sort of lead it on that, and then suggest we go for a drive.
Yeah. So if you ever think about it, you know, the examiner in roll, as the assessor, he can't really tell you what he's going to do wrong. Otherwise, he doesn't see that you're demonstrating your core comps. And your core comps are, of course, identify the fault, analyse it, and then prevent and remedial. So if he gives you clues here, so I've given you the right answers to the questions, and you know what I tell you in roll, I don't be vague around it. I'll give you the right answer, but then I'll still do it wrong because I'm not a learner driver. I'm an assessor, and I want to see that you can spot the faults and you can analyse them and fix them. So I'll give you the right answers here. Otherwise, I would have led you then into giving me a brief.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be fair.
But that's why I said that's as far as I was going to go with that.
That's it, yeah.
Just to sort of cover those points,
Yeah.
and then say, right, we're going to do.
You're right to cover it and ask it the way you've done it. It only takes a minute or two, and then satisfy yourself that everything's okay. He's not going to say to you, yeah, I don't know when to turn, because that requires a brief then. So I've done the lesson. This is a brush-up lesson. Watch what I do and fix the problems.
Yeah. Okay.
But you would never do it without asking those questions, because you never know.
Okay. That's what I was thinking. Right. So what we'll do,
Get back and roll.
we'll set off out. I'll get you to drive around and see if we've got any problems I can help you with.
All right.
Hopefully there's none with your test looming
Touch
in a
wood.
short distance. But I'm here to help you.
Okay.
So if we spot anything, we'll pull up and we'll have a little chat about it.
All right.
You okay with that?
Yeah,
So-
fine.
Get the car ready. Do your cockpit drill. just that roll again.
Go on.
Because it's at that stage, would you say get the car ready and do your cockpit drill, or
Your cockpit, yeah.
just
And
get the car ready?
No, just get yourself ready. Go through your cockpit drill. Watch him do it, and again watch him
So
do
just
it
keep
before you
saying
put
that,
yours
yeah.
on. Yeah, just get used to doing it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because even if he didn't need to be reminded, He's not going to take offence that you've said just go through your cockpit drill, is he? He'll just say, oh yeah, okay. Just watch that he does it. And again, give yourself time to do that, and then time to put yours on before you tell him to set the car away. So always, it's like the oxygen mask in the plane, but the other way around. Make sure he's got his done first before you do yours.
Okay.
It's unlikely that he's going to drop a fault in with this, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
So our examiner here, I kind of say that he would do it, but you never know. You never know. So it's always worthwhile.
I suspect he wants to see you.
He wants to see that you're watching him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Back in a row. At the roundabout, we'll follow the road ahead. Second exit.
Okay, Richard. So at the roundabout, we're going to come to here. We'll take the second exit, please.
Left at the end of the road.
Don't forget to do your mirror checks before you put your indicator on, please, Richard. At the end of this road, we're going to go left, please, Richard. And again, put your signal on before you've checked your near side mirror.
Right.
Mirrors first, then your signal.
Alright. We're on this road. Get me to take the first road on the right. Was I right to wait there? I wasn't sure what they were doing.
Yeah, it's always wise to hold off. But make sure you look to your left when you start pulling out of the junction. You're still looking to the right there. Take the next turn to the right. Well done.
So on this one, am I alright? Because I'm cutting the corner a little bit here, aren't I?
You've got no choice on this one, have you? Because the car's blocking your normal line that you take. You've no option. As long as you've done your observation, you've looked into the road, you've checked there's nothing coming, that's perfectly fine. And you went in at such a speed you could control the car that you could stop it if needed.
Alright. Get me to the second road on the left.
Okay, let's take the second road on the left, Richard, this one being the first. Just watch your mirror signal manoeuvre routine. You're still doing the signal first.
Alright. To the second road on the left, this one's the first.
Let's take the second road on the left, please, Richard, this one being the first. Still doing it. Gotta get this routine correct, please, Richard.
End of the road, we'll take the road on the left.
At the end of this road, we'll turn on the left, please, Richard.
And at the end of this road, the road to the right.
Okay. End of this road, we're going to turn right. Okay, what problems do you think we've got with this junction?
These cars. Well, there's all sorts here, isn't there?
Okay. So, what?
So is this, I'm going to have to sacrifice my position a bit, aren't I?
Yeah, you've no choice, have you?
Am I alright just turning into this side of the road?
You've got no choice.
Alright.
At this point, you've got no
easier,
choice.
isn't it? Just
Well, you haven't got an option.
left at the end of the road.
Then this road will go left.
I suppose I just have to be a bit more careful, wouldn't
You need to be careful at all times.
I? Sorry, I meant a bit more careful with it being a bit awkward. Next one to the left.
Okay, I'll take the next road on the left, please, Richard.
Get me to pull up on
I'm
that.
just going to get you pull up on the left on a safe, legal, convenient place, please, Richard. Okay, out of gear and engine off. Okay, biggest thing I've spotted all the way through this drive is your mirror routine,
All right.
that you're signalling before you check the mirror.
Right.
Go back to when you first started doing your driving.
Uh-huh.
What was the importance of checking your mirrors? What are the reason we have mirrors?
Well, we're checking the mirrors to make sure there's nobody about.
Exactly. So we make an informed decision as to what we're going to do based on what we see in the mirror. So it's no good deciding we're going to signal to go left. If, for example, we've got a car hurtling down on the back of us, it might not be safe to do a left turn. We must check it in the right routine, the correct sequence. So we check the mirrors, so we check this one, we check the near side one. When we're happy it's safe to do so, then we apply a signal.
Right.
But we do that in good time. So on the approach to the junction, so for example, if we use this as a this visual as a guide, so we're checking the mirrors before we get to the junction, happy that everything's clear, then we apply the signal and adjusting our speed. Whereas at the moment you're nearly on top of the junction, putting the signal on and having a quick look in your mirror as we come round.
Right.
So you've got to get that back, got to get it done in a nice sequence. Gives you time to react and let other people that may be following you understand what your intentions are. That roll.
Okay. End of the road, what am I going to do?
I don't know, go to that bit.
Okay. Have you fixed it, do you think?
Well, not yet, because I'm just highlighting the...
Okay.
Okay, so I've gone through the importance of why we...
So what's your plan moving forward from here?
So what I'm going to say is, I need you to show me that you're fully aware of why we need to use this routine and when we need to do it. So as we get to the end of this road, we're going to turn whichever way, left. So what?
So
Is it worth going through saying what point you're going to check?
no. Well, I mean, it might be, but there's lots of different ways of doing it. But you've talked to me about the problem,
Yeah.
and you've told me that you need to do it this way. But you haven't told me why. We haven't talked about consequences. So always talk about consequences. So if you mistimed that signal, what could go wrong there? What might the driver behind think?
Well, that's what I thought I said. Because if you leave it late, the guy behind's not going to know what your intentions are.
Your lips are moving. Am I listening?
Right, yeah, okay.
So the only way you can tell whether I'm listening, I'm coming on board, is to involve me in it. Now, it may well be that is enough. The examiner might think, yeah, okay, that's a good case you've made there. But you don't know. So it's just one-way stuff. So you've told me about it. You're bang on. You're absolutely bang on. Every single time I've gone signal mirror. I was going to come down here and then go right, where, of course, it's probably a bit more critical. If you just put the signal on and then check your mirrors, what if somebody's overtaking you? But you're quite right here that still, you're doing it late. What if there's somebody coming up behind and they're seeing that late? And because everything's, as well as the routine not being right, I'm too close to the junction when I'm doing it. So my timing's bad, as well as it being in the wrong order. So if you say to me, well, let's have a little look at that. What could go wrong there? What's the consequences? What if there was somebody here and that happened? What if this happened? What about if you're coming down here and you leave that late and that pedestrian steps out onto the road because you haven't done the signalling in enough time? Because you've got everything out. Oh, right. Well, I suppose they might step out. Well, whose fault's that then? So, well, they should watch what they're doing. Yeah, but we've created that situation. Oh, I see. So can you see that if you indicated earlier and you got the routine right, that would help? Well, I can see that. And by doing it in the right order, we're making sure it's safe before we put the signal. Can you see how that would benefit? Oh, yeah, I suppose, yeah. Now I'm on side.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm still going to stop doing it, but now you've convinced me. Now I'm involved in the analysis. Now, all right, I see what you mean. So am I aware that it's a fault? No. Am I aware why it's a problem? No. So you've involved me now. Now I know it's a problem. Now I know why it's a problem. Now what we've got to do is get me involved in, do we know how we're going to fix that? Well, I suppose I'll try and get it in the right order and do it. Or I might not know. So what you need to do is then talk me through it, like I'm a dumb coffin. It's the first time I've done it. Then say, right, how was, oh, yeah, I see what you're on about now. Now try that on your own. That's the circle complete.
Yeah.
And if you go around that, every time you get a fault, if you make sure we go around that, follow that flow chart down, am I aware that it's a problem? Am I aware that it's a fault? Yes or no? If the answer is no, make me aware. Am I aware why it's a problem? Makes no odds. Well, what about this? Consequences. What about that? What about this? Oh, All right, I see what you're saying. Now I'm aware it's a problem. Do I know how to fix that? Well, in this case, it's dead easy. You get the timing right. So let's do that a bit earlier. Not so early that it's confusing, but early enough so that we'll warn people. And let's think about the routine. Why would we do it? So you run in the same loop. Am I aware why that's a problem? As it happens, where we've done it, he could probably argue that it wasn't because there was nobody about. But what if there was? All right, so if we get into these habits, right. And then how are we going to fix it? Well, what we're going to do the next time we have a go at it, I'm going to talk you through it. All right, then we'll have a chat about it. So you talk them through it. How is that? All right, I see what you're getting at now. Right, do you want to try that on your own? You might have to put another stage of help in, but
Yeah.
try it on your own. Then we're done. That's your core comps. That's all it's about. That's all it's about, this phase. Making sure that you can go through that flow chart. Am I aware that that's a problem? Am I aware why it's a problem? Am I aware how to fix it? And then make sure it gets fixed. And however that works doesn't really matter as long as you go around that and you've complete the circle. So if you only do certain elements of it, the fault's going to remain. So even doesn't matter how good a case you make, la 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 la.
Yeah.
And there's no way of knowing unless you actually involve me. Now, with a learner driver, again, referring back to the real world, you make a case like that, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. All right, I'll stop doing that then. This guy's not going to do it. Because he has to assess your core comps. And part of your core comps is the analysis, making sure that I'm aware that it's a bad idea to do what I'm doing.
Okay.
And that it needs fixing. Does that make sense?
It does. What about the other bits you chucked in? Obviously, we had some nice bits with the cars parked on the curbs and.
I used that as a test of your knowledge. I just asked you some questions there. And yeah, you were quite right. But you're not faced with a choice, are you? And you added in nicely, but you've done it at the right speed, so it was safe. All right, yeah, okay. So it's just another one of those things where, like, what about the little old lady if she wants to cross the road? What do I do there? Should I wave her across? No. I'm cutting the corner here. Is that all right? Well, it is in these circumstances. So so it's whilst I've not put the right corner cut in, I've still tested your knowledge on it by throwing these questions at you. And I've had to cut it on the way in, and I've had to cut it coming out of a T-junction, and then I've had to maintain the wrong side of the road for a little distance, because it would be silly to cut into that gap and come back in. So we've tested your knowledge with that as well, which is all right. So it's good. No, that was fine.
Okay.
So you were on it straight away. I think I'd be tempted to pull him in earlier. Let's have a look at this. Once he's done it twice. I did it the first time. You picked it up straight away. You told me. I did it again. Over.
Yeah.
Let's get the side of the road here. We're not moving until we fix this. And do not, under any circumstances, let the car move again until you've reached agreement. Until the analysis is complete and there's a plan on what we're going to do about it moving forward. Otherwise, you're just making a rod for your own back. If you're stopping too much, don't worry. He'll tell you within roll if he feels you're stopping too much. My last instructor never used to stop this much. He used to keep on the move all the time. I liked him. He was good. It's better than you. Or a conversation similar.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you want to do with that then? Back and roll and try some more?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to sort of finish this bit off, or do you just want to try doing something else?
Why don't we carry on with the same thing?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, I see what you mean. Finish. Do you want to reset that you've just pulled me over again and try again?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Right, sorry, I misunderstood.
Because I take it you're looking at maybe chucking a different fault in there.
Well, let's stay with this one. Let's reset as though you've just pulled me over. And we're going to have the chat about it.
Okay, Richard. We've on the drive round. I've had to identify that you're not using mirror signal manoeuvre.
Yeah, you said
routine in the correct order. Just recap. Why do we use the MSN procedure?
Well, we're letting people know what we're about, aren't we?
Okay, and it's all about timing as well, isn't it? To give people advance warning of what we're doing, so they can react to what your intentions are.
Yeah, you don't want it too early because that can confuse people, can it?
Okay, and too late.
Oh.
Okay, so we use the example of a left-hand turn. As it is at the moment, we're sort of getting to here when you're putting your signal on and then checking your mirrors.
Right.
Okay. If we look at this diagram, we've got a pedestrian on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Who may have looked back, seen you coming down the road, no indicator on. He's going to start heading out that way. What's the consequences?
I suppose we might hit him.
Yeah.
Should watch what he's doing though, shouldn't he?
What do we need to do?
Drive round him?
What we said we use the MSN for.
Well, that's like what the road users, isn't it?
Or the road users. And the pedestrian is?
Well, he's a pedestrian, isn't he?
He's also a road user.
Oh.
Okay. Because don't forget, at some point, he crosses roads, so he's classed as a road user.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
Okay. So just think of yourself, when you're using a pelican crossing, when you're crossing the road, you look left and right, you're looking at what the vehicles are doing, and you're looking for indications of where they're going to go. So that's what this guy needs. So by doing it in a structured fashion, if we indicated here or further back, how do you think that might help the pedestrian?
Well, I suppose he'd say I was turning.
Yep. So he's got an idea of what your intentions are.
Right.
Because at that point, you may just be pulling up.
Right.
But at least he's now aware that something's going to happen.
Right.
Okay? So you get the importance of an early signal.
Right.
Okay?
So what you're saying, if I let him know that, at least he's aware of what I'm doing. He's not just going to randomly step out expecting I'm not going to be there.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then hopefully, as you approach that junction, because you've signalled, you would expect him to have picked that up.
Right.
But always being aware that he may still step out.
Right.
So you need to be prepared for that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So as we approach the junction, we do a number of things. Obviously, we've checked the mirror. If it's safe to do so, apply a signal.
Yeah.
And then start doing the manoeuvre. So then we're looking at position, speed, and gear.
Right.
Okay. And because you're leaving this late for your signal, it does tend to make you do your gear change.
I see what you're saying. So if I'm not leaving the signal so late, then it's giving people more time to see it, I suppose.
It's giving people time to see it, and it gives you time to set the car up. Because you want to be at this point here in the correct gear with your foot off the clutch, ready to go around the corner.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah?
Should we give that a go?
Yeah.
That roll?
Okay.
Does that cover it?
Have you convinced me about this bit? You think? Am I on side there?
Well, I thought so, because to me you've understood the implications, because there's a chance he's going to stand out.
And you see how using the consequences has a huge impact. Oh, well, I've not thought of that. Oh, right. So you've convinced me that. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it right again,
No.
by the way, because the analysis is complete on that element of it. Which way around was I doing my mirror and my signal?
You're doing your signal first.
What am I going to do as I come up here? Am I going to change that round?
Well, I'll remind you. I'll say, remember the mirror.
But we might need to do a little bit more on the consequences of that. So you've convinced me here, but we haven't really convinced me. Sort of half. I'd want to make sure that we've got a plan in place for both of those elements. So you've talked about the timing.
Yeah.
That's also going to mean that I'm going to do it further back. That's going to eliminate some of the problems there. But we haven't talked about mirror and signal the wrong way around. Not in enough. I don't think there's probably enough detail there.
Okay.
So yes, you've mentioned it, but you've focused mainly on the lateness of the signal. Do both.
Okay. So when we look at setting the car up to do the left turn, okay, on this particular example, we're passing a junction to the left,
Yeah.
and we're going to be taking the next junction,
Yeah.
which we've done on this occasion. We've taken a second turn to the left.
Yeah. So I'd have to wait till I got past there, but you were saying I'd need to be signalling about here, so
Yeah.
I'd wait till I got past there and then signal about as early as that. Is that about right?
Yeah. So
All right.
if we signalled here, for example, what would that do?
Might think we're turning in there.
Absolutely. Right. So we check the mirror as we're coming up to the first junction.
All right.
We're checking what's behind us, and then as we pass, or just passes the entrance to the first junction, then we'd look at putting an indicator on.
Right.
Okay. I'll just start a roll just for a sec.
Go on.
Obviously, using this example, we've got no cars in the way. You just keep it as straightforward as that,
You can
using
do.
that visual.
The problem I've got is that I'm not really seeing the importance of that mirror check before the signal.
Yeah.
So you might want to focus your discussion on why are we doing it in that order?
Yeah. Okay.
You say, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, well, it's to make sure that it's safe, isn't it? What could be the consequences, do you think, if we didn't check the mirror and then we just popped the signal on? What could happen there? Oh, so that sort of...
Yeah.
So you've got to get me to come online, really, to come on board with your way of thinking.
Okay.
Not always easy, but like you did with this, see if you can structure a similar sort of argument, if you like, about the checking the mirror before we signal.
So the importance of doing the mirror check before we put the signal on. If we don't put the signal on, and we've got, just say this is our car here, and this is a following car, and we don't put our signal on until here, what do you think this guy's going to be thinking?
You might think we're going straight ahead, I suppose.
Okay, so potentially what's going to happen, is he going to get close to us, or is he going to stay far away?
I don't know.
Well, chances are he's going to get close up to us.
All right.
And then when you do finally put your indicator on, what do you think is going to go through his head?
You might think I'm pulling up, I suppose, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So again, popping a rope, we're focused on the signal again. It's the mirror that's the important thing here, isn't it? Why am I checking my mirror? I'm not checking my mirror before I'm signalling, am I? Why should I?
Yeah, that's what I thought I was trying to explain by picking up the guy coming behind you.
Well, what you've done is you've focused your attention on the signal going on later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
So the opening question might just be, why do we check our mirrors? He's probably going to give you something like, well, to make sure it's safe to do what we're going to do. So you've done stuff without checking the mirrors. So are you sure it was safe to do that? I think so. You think so? How sure are you? You could be staking somebody's life on this. So how sure do you think we need to be? Oh, well, I suppose we need to be pretty sure. So how can we be sure? Well, I have to check my mirror then. So before we do anything, we're checking our mirrors to decide if it's safe to do something, aren't we? Oh, yeah. So is that a thing that you would do after the indicator or before? What could be the consequences? All right. So I can see where you're coming from, but you're leading yourself to drift back into to what we just talked about, which is fine if you're trying to figure that one. So
and that's what I made. I thought, well, I mentioned about why do we check mirrors earlier on, but not at this point.
So the routine, the MSM routine, is done in a particular order for a particular reason.
Yeah.
So you might want to just focus on a chat about the MSM routine. So let's just look at MSM, shall we? Let's have a look at what the routine is and why it's important. So you're checking your mirrors first. Why do we check our mirrors first? Now we asked that you there say, well, it doesn't matter, or enter it to make sure it's safe. So is that what we've done? No, I suppose I didn't really. So we put our signal on first, so we've got the routine the wrong way around. What could be the consequences of getting that the wrong way around, do you think? If you pop a signal on, let's say, for example, we're talking about turn left, but what if you turn right? You bang that signal on. You know, there's somebody coming up on the outside of you here. You put the signal on without checking. They're overtaking you. What might happen there? I don't know, but they might panic. If they panic and brake hard and swerve back in, what could happen then? Oh, what if there's a car behind them? So you've surprised somebody. Maybe made that. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. So again, consequences. So we go through the routine. Why do we do it in that order? Why is it important to put the signal on in enough time? Well, you've made a lovely point with that one. And then it just leads naturally into it. Right, so then I'm on side now. So what we'll do at the next couple of junctions is, well, I'll prompt you as we go through that and talk you through the routine. Then the pull over and say, how was that? All right, yeah, it was all right, yeah. Okay, do you want to go on your own now? So we're constantly just working our way down that flow chart, making sure we complete the circle, and then ended up with him doing it on his own. Touch wood.
On that, when you get them to do it on their own, would you ask them to talk it through, or just physically watching?
Tell me what you're thinking about here. He might do it, he might not. He might go, oh, can I not just have a go on my own? But yeah, why not? It's a technique I use all the time with learner drivers. What are you thinking about here? Well, I'm thinking it's a bit tight. So what are you going to do with that then? Well, I'll probably slow down a bit. Okay. What gear do you think you'll use here? Well, probably first. So before you move, you could also be saying, oh, what sort of junction is this at the end? Well, it's a Y junction. What sort of view you got? Not a very good one. So how might you approach this? Well, probably a bit slower. So on the road here, whereabouts would you start your MSM routine? Yeah, next to that car is probably about right. Yeah. So something like that. It doesn't have to be exactly those words. I mean, this is one of the problems with providing coursework and providing DVDs that say it's like this, it's like this. People think there's only one way of doing it. There's not. There's many than one different ways of doing it. As long as we get all of these things covered, then we're all right.
Okay.
Back and roll.
Okay, so we'll have a go at that.
Okay.
I'll prompt you as to when we should be looking.
Right.
Okay, when to put your signal on. We'll pull over, see how that's gone.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if you're ready for having a go on your own.
Okay.
Okay. So.
End of this road, we'll go left, and then we'll go immediately left.
Okay, Richard. So at the end of this road, we're going to go left, and then immediately left again.
Right.
So check our mirror. So we've got to take a position past this car. Bring your signal on.
It's tight here, isn't it?
Okay. Okay, not good. That's it. Immediately left. Okay, just that roll, I didn't guide you there, did I?
No. And did it go right?
Oh, no, because you did the sequence wrong. Okay.
Second road on the left. Sorry, apologies, third road on the left.
We'll take the third road on the left, please, Richard. This one being the first. Okay, so as we pass this junction, we'll be starting our mirror routine. So rear view mirror, near side mirror, signal. Get your speed down to second. Foot off the clutch before we get round the corner. Look into the road. Gently round. And just pull up somewhere on the left, just behind the blue car, please. Okay, and you know. Okay, how did that feel?
It felt slow, but felt all right.
Did you feel more in control?
Yeah, I suppose I did, really. Yeah. Had plenty of time to do everything.
I think hopefully that shows you, gives you time to see what's behind you, to make sure it is safe to start doing your routine, to slow down and what have you.
Yeah.
But it's important you do that routine. That mirror first, see what's to the back. Why do we check the near side mirror?
I suppose that's in case there's somebody on a push bike coming up fast, because they do now, don't they?
That's right.
Motorbike even.
So we're thinking safety all the time.
Yeah.
And if there was something come up the left, what do we do?
Probably abort and go straight on.
Yeah. Okay, so I missed something. So yeah, so we've checked our mirrors, and could you feel the difference of being in control? We've got the car in gear,
Yeah.
and totally ready, so it gives you time to look into the road.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I had to hurry anything.
Yeah, which is good, because I noticed on the sort of Y-shaped junction, you were looking over your right hand shoulder even before we got to the end of the road. What were you looking at? There was nothing to see. There was a fence.
No, just
So in that moment, you were actually taking your eyes off the road completely.
Right,
You're not seeing what's coming. Potentially, a car could have come in that junction at that point. So you need to be keeping your vision to your front, what you can see.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And be sure that as you're going left, you are looking to your left once you've done your right check.
Okay, at a roll. So you were watching for something else coming in, which is good. And again, but again, in roll, why would I do that as an assessor? We're working on this fault.
Yeah.
Well, you've got me to agree that, okay, you're on top of that, so I'm just going to bring another one in. They're probably not going to bring it in that quick, but they might. So you're alert to it, you're straight on it. Why were you staring to the right? Well, I thought I'd better just be careful. No, hang on a second, you're taking out. Oh, right. Straight away I've said, I see what you mean. So it's if you get the opportunity to come back around, you might need to do the analysis, but I've accepted. So you could have a talk about, like we've just done with this stuff, about the consequences. So you're juggling two faults in there at once then. But let's focus back on this one.
Okay.
Where are you going to go with this one now?
Okay, so what I'd like to do, we'll just go around the block again.
Okay.
And I'd like you to just do it without any help from me, or do you feel you need any prompting?
I'll give it a go. Yeah.
And just remember what you've just done in the correct order, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
And if you can, just tell me what's going through your mind as you're approaching your junction. I'll give you the instruction to turn left or right, and then just tell me that what you're thinking when you're looking in your mirror.
Oh, okay.
If you can do that for me.
I'll try and remember, yeah. Next road on the left.
We'll take the next road on the left, please, Richard.
So, mirror. Let me see. I'll stay on first here. A bit more space than I thought.
Okay, well, on that one, you still didn't quite get the routine right.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I was going to concentrate on it being tight.
Okay.
To the second turning on the left. Just where that guy is with the shovel thing.
Okay, take the second turn on the left, please, Richard. This one being the first. So just remember how we timed it before.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me what you're thinking.
Where is? Let me see.
Gear?
Position. Yeah, I'll take a second. Plenty of time. Oh, that's much easier.
Okay. And this is a perfect example. You just pull up on the left, please, Richard. Safe, legal and convenient place. One brake on, neutral, and switch the engine off. Switch the engine off, Richard.
Sorry.
And if we just look at where that car's parked, near the junction,
Oh, the white one.
the blue one,
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Pulling
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
so that just helps understand why we need to be controlled coming around the corner.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
set up, nice and controlled, so you
Yeah.
could come round there.
Yeah, that was much better.
Yep.
So, popping on a roll. Do you think you're done with that fault? I mean, have you done what you need to do? I'm not saying it won't come back, but are the boxes all ticked?
I think so now. And
Well,
hopefully using that as a
Yeah, that's
example as well.
nice again. So I've demonstrated that I can do it now. The responsibility has been transferred to me. So you must have gone round. If you hadn't done your job right there, I'd have messed it up again. So
So I was okay picking up that you'd
it's fine.
missed the fault again.
Yeah.
What about the prompt for the gear? Was that okay?
It's fine.
Yeah.
You've got to work live and think, well, what do I need? So okay, I didn't do it right. Well, that's the real world, isn't it? That is a real world thing.
Because
Sometimes
had I
learners
not
do
done
forget.
that, would you have gone around in third gear?
I might. I might. Because I was toying with the idea of adding that in as a new fault. So you did well to pick it up. So I thought, I'll just stay in third gear. I'll do the routine right. The bits we've been working on, so
Yeah.
that's that fixed. But I've now got the opportunity to be in the wrong gear coming around, so I've messed it up in a different way.
Because I was just thinking, because I thought, well, it's not too sharp a bend, this, because it's...
I can get round in third.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Now I'm used to this car. I was like, yeah. I've not done it in my car.
No. So you're live to it, which is great. So that's good.
Okay.
Relax. So again, you've just got to. You haven't
It's
got.
the 2/3 bit, isn't it? It's that last
It is,
bit.
It is. You've got to make sure. Now, it might be worthwhile having something that reminds you. And I've got printouts of that flow chart where I've got just the questions to ask. That may or may not help. Could stick them on here, whatever.
Yeah.
Come to that, we'd stick it in the car. In fact, I might have a sign made so they go on and then sticky. Am I aware it's a fault? That's just not a bad idea,
You're allowed to do that.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Of course you are. You're allowed to have little prompt lists for yourself, as long as you're not reading from them.
Yeah.
It's like the presenter. If you use the presenter like this,
Yeah,
he'll
true.
snatch it from you and say, well, give us it here, I'll read the damn thing. But if you're using it and saying, you're using it to guide you through,
Yeah.
great. They don't mind aid memoirs. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
And a little list, if you had this stuff, you just had that on a clipboard that you were ticking off. They don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
What they really don't like is you reading from it. If it's good enough for airline pilots, it's good enough for us. So I'll look at doing a little miniaturised version of that flow chart,
Yeah.
which may or may not help.
I think it will help me, because that seems to be my stumbling block that I'm getting so far that I'm hitting that brick wall and forgetting the
Yeah.
last bit.
The reality is you're treating me like I'm a real learner, that I'm a sentient human being who once I've agreed with you that, right, or once you've made a good case, I'll go, yeah, that makes sense, I'll do that. Well, there's
And
no
that's
way I'm
a
gonna do that.
stumbling block, yeah.
It is, and it's the area where a lot of people, in fact, the majority of people on test fall down. They assume that just because they've made a good case, that I'm going to come on side. Well, if you take that line, you're giving me carte blanche as the assessor to just go, well, I've just decided for myself that I don't agree with you, or that I'm not listening. Sometimes they're very blatant about that. So can you see this? Man, no, not really. What difference does it make? If you'd engage me in that, what can you see that it's no? What difference does it make? I haven't caused anybody any problems. What's the matter with you? And that's not him being belligerent as a human being. It's him just saying that you have not convinced me of your argument, so you can get lost.
So by using, for example, say, well, the car in the corner.
Oh, I
That's
see
it.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was already sold. I'd done it right, but if I hadn't, that's a beautiful example. But there's nothing wrong with adding it in. So can you see that by being set up the way you were, it avoided conflict? Oh, you did, yeah, you're right, yeah. Ooh, I'm so pleased you showed me that. You're wonderful. Let me pay you lots of money. So I think that's an area that I think the majority of people have a problem with, is making sure that we've completed all of our core comps, that we make sure that we've spotted it, that we're aware that I'm aware that that we make sure I'm aware it's a problem, that I know why it's a problem, I know how I'm going to fix it, and there's a plan in place to make sure that we're going to prevent it and transfer the responsibility to me before the car moves again. And I mean before it moves an inch. Otherwise, it's just going to happen again. And then if he drops a second fault in, now it's Armageddon. Yeah. Then a third one comes, that's it, you've lost the plot. You can sometimes juggle two faults at the same time. But even then, that's very difficult. You've got to prioritise, fix one, stay still. Until we've got a plan that this is fixed, we can't move on. Otherwise, a second fault can come in, and then a third, and that's game over.
Yeah.
It's just like, bleh. And that happens so often to people on an exam. It happened to me on my first exam. It was just like, I just got to the point where my brain just shut down. I just couldn't cope with it. I was just sat thinking, goblock. I couldn't think of what to say. And I was sat thinking, he's done it again. Oh, he's done it. We've just discussed this. He's done it again. Why has he done that again? And it never occurred to me to just pull him over and say, why have you done that again? No. And he must have been sat there thinking, well, I can see you've seen it. Are you going to say something? Because you can tell when somebody's seen it. You know, that was going through my mind when we were first going. I thought, well, how many times are you going to let me do this before you pull me over? There'll come a point for the examiner where he'll just go, yeah, that's enough.
So I did it on what? Was it 3?
No, it was more than 3. I think we're up to, I'll tell you how many it was in a second. It was 1, 2,
4, 5, isn't it?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I said, get me to pull over in this spot. And I was going to say to you then, how many times are you going to let me do this? I did it at every junction. We pulled away from where we were. The roundabout was, no, it's more than 6. The roundabout, it was a bit, yeah. We came up to the T-junction, the crossroads at the top, I turned left, I did it there. We then turned right, I did it there. We came down this hill here, I got you to take me the second left, I did it there. Second left again, I did it there. Left at the end of the road, I did it there. Right at the end of that road, left at the end of this road, left into here. And on every one I went signal, mirror. So you get to the point where you're sitting thinking, well, an examiner would then probably a junction, maybe 2 junctions before, just stop doing it. Just, okay, you're clearly not going to pick this up. Or he'd really start making it obvious. If it's a coasting thing and you're not picking it up, he'd bring the clutch up sharply. Now, if that's happening, what's he done that for? He's telegraphing to you, like, come on, are you going to do something about this?
Yeah.
I can see your eyes on me. I know you've seen it. Say something. It must be very frustrating for them sometimes, because you can see that, okay, I can see you watching me. I know I've done it. Speak.
Yeah.
Just speak. Well, the amount of times people just sit and go, oh. And inside their head they're going, well, he's done it again. What can I do about that? To stop the car, firstly.
Yeah.
Stop. Ideally, after the first time he's done it, because he hasn't done it by accident. It's deliberately done. Okay, good stuff. We can again, there's stuff there that applies to everything else. It's any fault. That's simple routine.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can miniaturise those and print them out for you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
For tomorrow. There's 10 phase 2, but how many phase 2 pages are there in here? I can't remember now. Just have a quick count up. We'll actually look at the front page on the index, that'll tell us. So I'll do one for every page. 38. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh. Oh, I'll have a look at the presenter when I get it back. I'll print a lot off. I'll miniaturise them so they can stick on there. Yeah, or I'll have one. I'll stick it on here.
So really the key thing is, whilst I seem to be picking up the faults.
Yeah, no problem at all.
It's just getting to pull you up earlier.
You're quite good at giving me a good reason why I shouldn't do it, but that's only you. I'm not involved in that.
Getting the buy-in.
Yep, absolutely.
And
buy-in's a good way of describing it.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll miniaturise that little flowchart. We'll see if that helps for tomorrow.
That's clearly my stumbling block, isn't it?
Well, it's an area that requires development. I wouldn't describe it as a stumbling block. It's something.
Well, it is in a minute, because I keep doing it. It sounds like, well, you'll keep using the indicator. So why aren't I fixing it? So
you're right. Do you know what? You're right. I hate you for it. Pack it in.
Thank you. I'll try harder. No, but
it's an area for development. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
That's where we're at this point in time.
Yeah.
If you do it a week on Monday, I'll be gutted. But if you're doing it now, it doesn't matter.
not as good as ever. That's why I want to get it right now. So,
But it's, these things take a little time sometimes. It's especially because you're getting, all your life you've been used to human interaction. This is not a human interaction. This is an assessment. And I'm behaving in a particular way because I'm assessing you on certain things. And if those things aren't done correctly, then I'll carry on behaving in that way, which logically you wouldn't expect a human being to do. They would go, oh, right, yeah. And especially the bit where you get the buy-in, they go, oh, I see what you're saying. There's nobody on this planet who's going to get it wrong again, but this guy is, because he wants to see that final bit done.
yeah. Okay.
Cup of tea time.
Good.